Hello, everyone. As you know, a little over a month ago, I made my video which was titled, What is the Appeal of Liberalism? And basically, I explained that I had become an atheist and that changed my perspective on the question of God and not the origin of the universe, because I always believed in evolution, but just the existence of God and the verifiability of the Bible, the truthfulness of the Bible. And I explained that even though I was able to shed my religious beliefs and become an atheist, I was still a conservative. Conservatism just made more sense to me. And I started out as a liberal. I voted for John Kerry, which was my first election that I voted in. I voted for John Kerry, and I missed Barack Obama's first inaugural election. I missed his first election, and in the second, his reelection campaign, I voted against him. And so, I let go of my Christian views, but I held on to my conservative views, and I made the video, What's the appeal of liberalism? Because I honestly and sincerely wanted somebody to convince me, persuade me that liberalism was a viable choice. Because I noticed that majority of atheists are liberals. It seems like a natural switch. As soon as they become atheists, they become liberals, and I became an atheist, but I retained my conservative views. So I was just wondering what the appeal was. Why was everybody jumping on a bandwagon? And so anyway, I'm going to my Yahoo Mail, and on Yahoo News there's an article about Republican governors. And basically, what the article was saying was that these 8 Republican governors are in trouble of losing their seats, their re-elections. They're in trouble of losing their re-elections. And and basically, it goes into that each of these governors promised a very conservative platform when they were elected, and they did things like reduce funding for schools and make stricter rules for food stamps and welfare, and lay off government workers. The, I never saw it like this, but the article called it austerity. Basically, what they tried in Greece and in the UK and in Ireland, I believe. So the government called it austerity. The writers of the article called it austerity, and basically it was saying that these governors had this very conservative platform, and they promised that it was going to boost the economy greater than anything in the world, and that it was going to be that people were going to be making money hand over fist, and jobs were going to be created, and obviously people were going to get off welfare, like during welfare reform in the 90s. So these governors promised all these great things, and they weren't able to deliver. In the 8 states where the governors were in trouble of losing re-election, their economies were behaving poorly compared even to surrounding states. And and the article had me thinking, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the evidence that I was looking for that would justify me becoming a liberal again. Perhaps liberalism does work. I mean, these states were underperforming their Democratic counterparts by large margins, and and I had me thinking, yeah, this is it. I can no longer be a conservative because this evidence came along that says that conservative policies don't solve all of our economic problems and make us all rich. Basically, that's what I was thinking. But then I started thinking some more, and I did a little research, and it turns out that the U.S. national debt is $17 trillion, which is equal to the gross domestic product of $17 trillion. So equal to 1 year of our of our 1 year worth of income for the United States. Basically, we owe 1 year worth of income. That would be like me if I owed $9,000 to a credit card company. I actually owe much more than that to the student loan companies. But if I owe $9,000 on a single credit card, or maybe a group of credit cards, that's how much uh, that's how much that's how much the national debt is. The national debt. But if you look elsewhere in the documentation, the total U.S. debt is 59 trillion, which is about six and a half. It's about six and a half times. I'm sorry. It's about, let's see, one, two, three, three and a quarter, or I'll say three and a half. It's about three and a half times the the gross domestic product. And so for 3.5 times the gross domestic product for 1 year. So that would be like me owing uh, $27,000 on a bunch of credit cards. That's still nowhere near what I owe in student loans. But it would be like me owing $27,000 in in credit cards, and I make $9,000 a year. And basically, that cannot be seen as an advantageous position for anybody. I mean, sure, these Republican states are not performing as well as Democratic states, which have high taxes, uh, easier to get welfare, more government employees, high salaries for teachers, and you know these these states these states that appear to be doing well, they need us to continue to run these record deficits every year just so that they can perform less than what they would need to perform for us to pay our debt. It would be like if I were to give $1 million to a pig. Now, I give $1 million to a pig. That pig now has more money than he could ever spend in his entire life. But he's a pig. So he can't eat the money. So if I want him to eat, I'm going to have to take some of the money that I gave him and use it to buy food for him and feed him. I'm going to have to house him to keep him away from the lions and the whatever other animals try to eat it, and keep it from catching hypothermia in the rain or in the cold. So I've given this $1 million to this pig, but you know it's still a pig. It doesn't change the fact that it's a pig. It's unkept animal, and that's the same with this. I mean, you can give us all this money, and it makes us look like we're doing something, but it doesn't really take a genius to spend a 20 on some dark horse Newport, you know, uh, new shoes, a shiny new car. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to say, "Oh, I want this. Let me spend this money." You know, it's not getting us out of debt. We are the economic activity we have is less than what it would take for us to pay our bills, and the deficits increase every year. Um, so I thought of another analogy. Let's say let's say I have a car and the engine is broken, and I say to myself, we're gonna have to pay the money to fix the engine, or we're gonna have to pay the money to buy a new engine, install a new engine. And then my buddy comes up to me and says, "Hey, the engine is broken, but if we fill the gas tank with rocket fuel, then the engine will run almost as good as it did on normal fuel when it was working." So basically, we buy this expensive, this high priced, highly volatile rocket fuel, and we put it in the gas tank, and the engine will run almost as good as it did when it was working properly on regular fuel. So It's costing us more money to pump the pump the economy full of money, to have a high velocity of money, and in the long run, we can't simply expect that all of our creditors across the globe are just going to let us keep running record deficits forever and never paying back our debts and just increasing more and more and more in debt. We can't expect China and Japan and Germany to just hand us blank checks every day. I mean, it's automatic now. We have an automatic link to these banks, these foreign banks, and we're just swiping like a credit card, probably a literal credit card, and these transfer payments are being made automatically, and I call it a transfer payment because that's what it is. It's it's welfare. You know, our government, our entire nation is on welfare. Even the people that are working, the uh, the debt per citizen is $55,000 per year, and I'm sorry, not per year, $55,000 total. The debt per citizen is $55,000 total, and the debt per taxpayer is $150,000. So for every man, woman, and child in this country, from 0 to 100, the debt is $55,000. And just for the people who have jobs, the debt is $150,000. So, and the median income is $28,000. So that would be 5 years worth of income for the median individual, for the median worker in this country. 5 years worth of income. So uh, it's just something to think about. I thought the article was enough evidence. At first glance, I thought the article was enough to say, okay, I was wrong. I should be a liberal. You know, their policies are keeping the country afloat. But really, what kind of afloat is this? I mean, if you're on the ocean, your boat has a hole in it. You know, you say to yourself, okay, I can call for help. I can get in the inflatable boat and try to escape, or I can just go faster and hope that I reach my destination before I drown, basically. And this is unsustainable. These policies are unsustainable. This tax and spend philosophy is getting us nowhere. And it was wrong for the Republicans to promise that their their conservative policies were just going to make us have, you know, 30 like make us have record profits and everybody would be driving a Cadillac and all this stuff and everybody would have a job and all this stuff. You know, realistically, we're not going to be the rock star, the making money hand over fist. But we're not making money hand over fist now. We're getting credit hand over fist. So either way, it's the same thing. It's just, would you rather be living in, would you rather experience what you really can, what you're really doing, what you're really accomplishing? Would you rather see the real fruits of your labor, or would you rather live in a fantasy world? So let me know what you think, and always I'm open to suggestions. I mean, if somebody's able to convince me, then I'll definitely change my mind on that too. I am capable of changing my mind. I'm not an ideologue. I'm not wed to any particular ideology. If evidence comes along that refutes my beliefs, I will change my beliefs. So let me know what you think. Comment on this video, rate and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye.